Build-A-Bear Workshop has been delighting the little ones and some big ones too. I know some people who are adults who still buy these. Folks who love stuffed animals. More than 25 years. The toy maker is hoping for a boost in sales from the holiday shopping season after unexpected softness in the final 2 weeks of October. Joining us here in Studio 2 at our Bloomberg World headquarters is Sharon Price John. She's the president and CEO of Build-A-Bear Workshop. Sharon, great to have you here on the program.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
Okay, I'm going to start off, first of all, with the comments from last week or a couple weeks ago about some of the softness that we're seeing there. What do you think was driving that?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of conversations, really cross-sector, about a downturn in some consumer spending in the last 2 weeks of October, and we were no different with that. It struck us as a bit of an unexpected surprise, and I think it did a lot of people until we started to sort of unravel what was going on. It was probably some aspect of just some changes in economic outlook, some concerns from people, some geopolitical unrest, and the good news of that, though, even though that continued a little bit into November, is in the last week or so, we've seen it to start to tick back up again. So as we moved into our earnings call release yesterday morning, we were able to add that insight as well.
I am curious about just the nature of toys, if you will, and we've been having this debate as to whether toys are kind of a discretionary item or a staple, because let's face it, kids want what they want, and most parents are going to give it to them no matter the cost here. I mean, how do you view that? I mean, if we are seeing economic softness, at least among a certain demographic in this country here, does that have a material impact on a company like Build-A-Bear?
I believe that it depends on the sort of the consumer spending latitude, and so what socioeconomic group that you're particularly targeting as an example. Build-A-Bear tends to appeal to a slightly older target because we're mall-based and our average dollars per transaction is over $50, even though we assure that with our birthday treat bear, where you can come in and get a bear for the age you're turning. So if it's 2 years old, you can get the bear for $2. So we make sure we keep that broad appeal. But I think that it does have to do with how much you have as a discretionary income, obviously. The toy industry has often considered itself as recession resistant. There really isn't a sector that's recession proof, I would say. But yes, particularly for a child's birthday or as you approach the holidays, there's a little more latitude between some choices that parents make. They'll forego their own presents often to make sure there's something special under the tree.
Yeah, I noticed that in August you said 40% of your sales are generated by teens and adults, which really surprised me. That's a pretty big margin. Right now we're seeing in this autumn and this winter this expectation people are willing to spend on experiences over things. The heyday of the things were back during the pandemic, and of course people want to go out. Talk about how you're folding that into what you offer your customers, particularly this holiday season.
Right, that's a really great question, and just one moment on the kidulting trend that's out there. That's been showing up in the media all over the place right now, and we've been a part of that for a long time. And yes, we have seen an uptick in our business, particularly with some of our licensed products like Hello Kitty or Harry Potter that appeal to this multi-generation. But experience is a core part of who we are. In fact, it's our core competency, our point of difference even. When you come to a Build-A-Bear, you're creating that Build-A-Bear, and it's a very personalized process where you stuff the bear, you can put your own voice inside the bear, you can customize it with scents and sounds and dress it exactly the way you want to. So we were experiential retail before that terminology even exists in the over 25 years that we've been in business. And it means a lot to our guests. We're creating memories. These are special moments. And Build-A-Bear is a part of the holiday tradition as well. As families go out to do their holiday shopping or take their kids to see Santa, and we're often a part of that planned trip.
Got it. I noticed also in the last 3 years you've become more reliant on the U.S. market than overseas markets. Europe is now 87%, the U.S. is now 87% of revenue versus 84% 2020. What's the right balance for you? Where do you want to be?
That's also a fabulous question, because Build-A-Bear is an interesting company in that we have had a much more robust international franchise and partner-operated business in the past. COVID contracted that business, and there have been some times when we went through some ups and downs as well during the recession that contracted that business. We've been actively pursuing additional franchises and international partnerships. The Build-A-Bears that we operate in the UK are part of our owned and operated portion of our company, as well as in Canada. But from Australia to China to South Africa to Chile, those are franchises and partner operated. We noted on the call that we just opened our first store in some time in continental Europe, in Milan, in a relationship with Hamleys. We've had a fabulous relationship with Hamleys, a famous toy store, famous particularly in London. We have a great store in store with them, and we're looking forward to rolling out across continental Europe.
I am curious, just thinking a little bit more long term about just kind of the extension of the brand. We were speaking off camera before you came on about Mattel and then the success that it's had in creating movie franchises around its big names like Barbie and some of the others here. You've got a couple movies coming out this holiday season. I don't know if they're already out here. Is that a part of the general strategy too, that by doing those movies that drives people to eventually, I guess, buy one of the bears?
Absolutely. I mean, that is a part of a lot of the toy industry and toy company strategies, because there's an understanding of that when you create a relationship with your guests, when you create character arcs and story arcs, that raises the meaningfulness, and yes, also the top of mind awareness. It's an important aspect from a marketing tool, and in some cases a revenue generating, but we look at it as a primary marketing catalyst for us, from Hallmark films to Glisten and the Merry Mission, which is out already, and even our newly launched documentary, Unstuffed, a Build-A-Bear story that chronicles the last 25 years. It raises the level and thought process of Build-A-Bear from investors to guests.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your joining us.
Have you seen
today.
Unstuffed?
I have not.
I would recommend. My wife was the one who recommended that to me, and because she was completely fascinated by they kind of focus on.
Well, that is this weekend's viewing.
So yeah, it's good.
All right.
Oh, let me know.
Yeah.
Sharon, thank you so much. Sharon Price John is president and CEO of Build-A-Bear Workshop.